As they peer into the depths of the majestic Yangtze River, Miss Caitlin's troop is eager to discover what wildlife exists in this region of the world.
That Chinese sturgeon is massive,
Exclaims Zack as he studies the huge fish swimming in the nearby waters.
I've read that they can grow to weigh over 1,000 pounds.
Those big guys aren't the only things living in these waters.
Says Elliot.
Take a look over here.
Amazing!
Squeals Sarah as she pulls out her camera.
Yangtze finless porpoises are one of the few porpoises in the world that don't have dorsal fins. I just have to get a picture.
But just as she raises her camera to take a snapshot, Sarah's camera slips out of her hands and goes into the water, sending it sinking down into the river's dark depths.
Oh no! Without my camera, I won't be able to take pictures of our expedition.
Well,
Starts Alex.
since you're always doodling in that notebook of yours, why don't you use your artistic skills to sketch pictures of the animals we encounter instead?
That's a great idea, Alex.
Beams Sarah. With renewed excitement, Sarah removes her sketch pad and pencil from her backpack and begins to draw the family of porpoises.
This should be exciting.
Adds Miss Caitlin.
I wonder what kind of wildlife will end up in your sketchbook by the time our journey is complete.
Now standing atop the mountainous gorges of the Yangtze, Miss Caitlin and the kids continue their expedition down the river.
Just look at those corals scale those cliffs.
Says Elliot.
I wonder why they're such skilled climbers.
Their sure-footedness is due to the structure of their hooves.
Replies Miss Caitlin.
The special shape helps the gorals keep a firm grip on the land beneath them.
What's with that shadow moving across the surface of the water?
Alex wonders aloud.
It looks like it's moving towards the shore.
The group looks up just in time to see a golden eagle snatch a rabbit into its talons and ascend back to its nest in the cliffside. Meanwhile, Sarah has already begun sketching in her pad.
Whoa!
Says Zack.
The golden eagle is one of the fastest moving animals on the planet. Do you think you got a good enough look at it for a sketch, Sarah?
Don't worry.
Sarah giggles.
When I saw the shadow, I knew it must have belonged to a bird. So I looked up and I studied it for a good long while before it swooped down.
After having traveled for miles aboard a steamboat, the expedition group now navigates through the swampy shores and winding waters of the Yangtze marshland.
Just look at those alligators' grins.
Exclaims Alex.
They sure seem to enjoy sunbathing.
Since those Chinese alligators are cold-blooded, they have to warm themselves in the sun in order to keep their blood temperature high.
Explains Miss Caitlin.
But how about those Chinese water deer?
Asks Zack, pointing towards the marsh in the distance.
Or should I refer to them as vampire deer?
Man, those things have to be meat eaters.
Comments Elliot.
Just look at those tusks. I've never seen anything like that on a deer before.
On the contrary,
Starts Miss Caitlin.
in spite of those tusks of theirs, they only eat reeds, grasses, and vegetables.
Even if they're not used for eating.
Begins Sarah as she sketches energetically in her pad.
I've just got to get those tusks just right.
The troop's long voyage has now brought them to a vast shore on the Yangtze River as they continue to observe the wildlife all around them.
Does anybody else hear that?
Asks Elliot.
It sounds like a baby crying nearby.
It could be those cranes flying above us.
says Alex.
Sometimes birds' cries can sound like a baby's.
Maybe it could be this guy.
Guesses Sarah as she points toward a common goldeneye nearby,
I think this is our culprit, kids.
says Miss Caitlin as she points out the Chinese giant salamander that's crawling up onto the shore and letting out another cry,
Of course.
exclaims Zach.
The Chinese salamander is also known as the infant fish in Chinese languages because of its distinctive cry.
A salamander that's giant and sounds like a crying baby.
Says Sarah as she fishes her pencil out of her backpack.
That's definitely something that needs to be captured in my book.
After a very long trip along the Yangtze River, Miss Caitlin and the kids have left the waters behind them and are now exploring the lush, green Yangtze forest,
Be careful as we follow these golden snub-nosed monkeys.
warns Miss Caitlin.
We definitely don't want to scare them.
They sure are fast.
Remarks Elliot.
It'd be a lot easier to observe them if we could climb trees as well as they do.
Wow!
Exclaims Zach.
A mother and a baby giant panda! It's incredibly rare to see them out in the wild like this.
Got him.
Says Sarah with satisfaction as she puts the finishing touches on her sketch.
I think this is my best work yet.
Come on, Sarah.
Nudges Alex.
Now that our expedition is over, you've just gotta show us the sketches you've made.
I think you might be right.
Replies Sarah.
Okay, everyone, take a look.
Pictures of our trip would have been fine,
Says Miss Caitlin as she gives Sarah a big hug.
but they would have been nowhere near as memorable or wonderful as your works of art.
WWF helps improve habitats for endangered species by working with the Chinese government on protected areas for the giant panda and snow leopard. WWF also helps protect important waterways, like the Yangtze River, which provides drinking water, fish and transportation for millions of people, as well as a home for animals like the finless porpoise.